Hi, so I'm at these public gardens and I just had this insight. So one of the next visions that I'm in the process of co-creating is creating storybooks that are filled with art that reconnects people to nature and their inner gifts. And I don't know how to do that. And I don't do illustrations usually, and the style of painting that I've been into lately is very abstract, so I'm kind of, but don't need to know how it's gonna happen. And one of the steps that I've been guided to take is to start going out in nature and drawing or painting, which is quite, I realized it was kind of overwhelming to me because I've done, like landscape painting and stuff in the past, but always for like school or class. I didn't really enjoy it, and I don't feel like it's my forte. I feel like nature is so intricate and beautiful. It's not something I can replicate, and I get overwhelmed. So anyway, I came out today all ready to just go for it with a lot of resistance. I had painting supplies, and I finally got here. The weather turned pretty bad, and I forgot to bring turpentine, which I need. And so I was like, all right, I guess it wasn't meant to be. And but I'm sitting here, so I was underneath a willow tree. It's a beautiful willow tree with all these like dark roots, and I had a charcoal pencil, so I'm like, well, I guess I'll just sit here and sketch. And then I found it so overwhelming that I was like, oh, it's a good thing I wasn't able to paint, because I would have just been so frustrated. And then I remembered how familiar this feeling was. So one of the last times I did an oil painting, the first time I did what I now call like these shamanic paintings is I hadn't painted seriously in a long time. So I was painting in front of this huge canvas with the intention to kind of get out some emotions, and I was hoping that it would look neat. And I found it really frustrating. I hated the process. And the next day I was going to start a different painting, and anyway, then when I looked at the bigger painting that I had done, I saw this whole story in it, and it was like this beautiful reflection of who I was that I couldn't have planned. And a figure that looked like Medusa, and a small figure in the middle, which I saw as myself. And it was I saw the snakes of the tendrils of hair, Medusa's hair, as the snakes of fear and temptation. And this figure, but she was walking on her tendrils, Medusa's hair, and facing Medusa and walking straight into her. So, and then just yesterday, I was working on this little kind of art journaling project that's supposed to represent my muse, and also gone through some layers with that, where I hadn't painted her face in a while. I didn't like the way it looked, and then I painted another layer, and it was starting to look a little better. And the project was to, for her hair to find some words in a magazine or something, and then just notice what themes come out. And the themes that came out were all about, facing fear and being bold, and going straight into, one of it was like walking straight into winter. Like, instead of being afraid of or dreading what's you're seeing as a dead weight or whatever your fears are, to just go through it. And so I was reflecting on that today, and I just realized that that's exactly the same thing as like that walking straight into the face of Medusa. And the the fact that it was the muse's hair. So all of a sudden I just was seeing that frustration I felt at that first painting back then. It's the same kind of frustration I'm feeling right now. Like, I can't capture, what I'm trying to capture. And then I realized, like, what I think I'm trying to capture, which is like the way this tree looks, isn't really what I'm meant to be painting, because, and I know that, but I kind of forget that the point is to, again, create something that connects me to something that actually can't be seen. So, and I'm getting frustrated because I can't replicate what I see, but that's not what the art is for. Because there's like a million cameras for that, and our actual physical eyes. So then I started to kind of lighten up a bit and just drew with my charcoal pencil, like whatever caught my eye, and I wasn't getting all hung up on like what it looks like. And now I'm kind of excited because I think it's like a different kind of shamanic painting. Like, instead of me making marks without any reference point, it will be like I'm using nature as the reference point, but again, it's going beyond what my physical senses can interpret. And in the center walks one. In the quiet center, though the snakes of temptation and fear attempt to make a prison around her, yet she walks on, clear, peaceful, resolute. It is chaos that gives birth to the rising star.